Welcome back to ModSauce. Alright, there's been a bunch going on. I've got some more work done here on this setup. For the moment, I've got this export bus set to export pulverized copper from the AE system, of which there's quite a lot, which then gets picked up by the filters and these item conduits and sent to the smelters. And I've got 5 smelters, each with an octadic capacitor to increase power capacity and machine speed. And they're all processing pulverized copper, 3 pieces at a time. There's 5 machines doing that. And it's making pretty good progress, because if I look in the AE system, if I learn to spell, or type, or whatever, copper, 27,000 pulverized copper. About an hour ago or so, I think it was, there was about 48,000 pulverized copper. So that's getting processed pretty quickly. I have rearranged this a little bit. Output from the machines is now going by way of an advanced item filter in this piece of conduit and being sent into the ME interface. And as you know, anything that gets put into an ME interface that is not somehow set to be there automatically gets dumped into the system. And underneath, no, that's right. Underneath there was an import bus which has been replaced by the ME interface. It just made more sense. And so stuff being outputted from the smelters is picked up by the conduit and sent down here, with this one set to disabled so that it doesn't try to dump that stuff into the chest. The chest is now a extract only situation. It will extract what's in the chest, which is what gets put there by the export bus. Now, I'm probably, once I get caught up with all of the backlog, which the copper, I think, is about the last item in the backlog. The last thing I have a backlog of. I may very well set up processing patterns in the ME interface and set it up so that, you see, the interface is pointed at the chest. And I may set it up to use the interface instead of the export bus. I don't know yet. But this setup is essentially finished, and it works great. It's processing stuff really fast, and that's what I want it to do. Meanwhile, over here in the Botany department, the mana pool that I had set here is full, completely filled. And so I set up another one so that I'd basically end up with more than I need. I don't know how fast I'm going to end up using it, but I will have plenty. And when this one gets full, I'll put up another one here, and so on. I also took the advice of a couple of folks in the comments, and I added these nightshade plants in between the day blooms. That way the nightshade produces mana just like the day blooms do, except that the nightshade does it at night, and it does it at half speed. That's fine. That works. I can put some more day blooms in here, get a few more nightshades in there, and I will have probably a pretty decent mana production at the moment. At least given for the fact that right now I'm not actually using it for anything. But I'll get there. Don't worry about that. I will definitely get there. Let's see. Now, on to the main attraction for tonight. Oh, wait a minute. Let me fix some lighting. You see, when Ars Magica was removed, the things that generated the Ars Magica light, which I had all over this place, the actual light blocks, they disappeared. But the light stayed. At least it continues to stay until the various areas have block updates and it realizes, oh, there's no light there. Let's change that. You know, so I'm getting there. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so right here we've got the crystal growth accelerators, and they're hooked up with wiring down there, wired together at least. Now I'm going to take that out of there. Down at the bottom of that, I am going to put oh, tell me I have the thing. Let's see. I need an item valve. Okay. Come on, update. Okay. Steel tank valve. Tank valve, valve tube. Item valve. There we go. Oh, I need another hopper. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. I'm out of chests? There's 64 of them. Oh, for crying out loud. Get the hoppers. All that for one item valve. Alright. Anyway. So we take an item valve. I'm going to put that right directly below where the puddle's going to be. The thing about the item valve is that in the Steve's Factory Manager setup, the item valve, its inventory is whatever's in that space above it. So, now we come down here. Let's clear out a little bit of space. Alright, now. Okay, I think I can remove some of this cable. Alright, that'll work. Get me some energy conduit. Okay, now we need an energy acceptor. And I'm going to pop that right here. And let's see. Trying to remember just exactly how this is supposed to work. Let's see. Energy acceptor here. We need this insulated redstone conduit. Alright, and now right here we put redstone emitter. And let's see. Alright, wait, what direction is that? That is east. Alright, connection to adjust. The east side. Is that right? Whatever. Yeah, that should work. Okay. I can't help but to think there's a default for that. Okay, anyway. Alright, now underneath is that. We need some of this inventory cable. And that needs to hook up out this way. We need a connection to that thing, we need the factory manager itself. Okay. And another piece there, and let me get a chest. That'll do. All right. Now, is that entirely correct? Is that everything that needs to be there? I think so. All right. All right, let's see. And I need to have something about, okay, create condition. There we go. Now, inventory, item valve. That, yeah, and items specifically. And what I'm looking for is this, the Certus quartz seed, the nether quartz seed, the fluix seed. There we go. All right. All right, that's good. Requires all. All right, great. If that's there, all right, let's see. All right, I need to look at this. Check the inventory of the valve for seeds. Now I wonder if that's the right condition. Because I'm supposed to be able to detect, okay, if any, yeah. No. All right. I need to take a few minutes off camera and get this programming figured out and set up, and then I'll come back and talk through it. All right, I think I've got it about right, at least as much as I can, because honestly, I found this in a Direwolf 20 video where he'd worked out how to do this, and in what he did, the items could be set to ignore NBT data. And so that option is not available here, and that had me more than a little bit turned around. I'm going to, for now, assume, dangerous concept though that is, that it's going to work. And so for the next step, we need to put something directly above the item valve to drop seeds into it. And for that, we have the open crate from Britannia, which is what I needed the living wood for. So I'm going to go directly in here, and I'm going to place this thing directly up. And what it does is anything that goes into it gets dropped straight down. Unlike a Minecraft dropper, which will drop it down and to whatever random direction Minecraft selects, which is not cool. Alright, now I have a hopper feeding into that, and feeding the hopper is going to be an ME interface. And I'm going to take my getter wrench here and turn it around to point the interface at the hopper. And now let's throw in a little bit of glass cable here. This will use one channel off of this, so that should update, and this thing will pull a channel from that. That should work. Alright, now, so I take, say for example, this one, Fluix crystal with one redstone, one charged Certus quartz, and one nether quartz. Put that pattern in here. And then if I go in here, and I show craftable only, I should be able to say, okay, give me 10 of those. And go. And it's dropping the ingredients in there. And since there are things in there, the redstone power has been turned on, which activates the energy acceptor, which then gets these crystal growth accelerators running. Now, if I were to actually get a bucket of water and drop in here like it needs, I shouldn't have been standing so close. Alright, but there's my Fluix crystals. And let's see. You know what I needed? I needed another condition that would look for, in this thing, which is to the up, and if any, and I have what in my inventory here? Fluix crystals. Okay. So, if I have any Fluix crystals in there, then they need to be sent Alright, that doesn't look right at all. Alright, inventory is this, yes. Target, the direction it's coming from. Create an output. Send it to there. Target, direction, I don't imagine matters in that particular case. And we're going to whitelist the Fluix crystals. And then I guess we need another trigger hooked to that. Okay, so now, alright, I've got nothing hooked up to pull from the chest yet, so if there are Fluix crystals in there, they should get yanked out and put there. This worked so much easier on Direwolf's video. I tell you, it really did. And all right, if any of these, if that's true, and go to this, and to the chest, move the fluid crystal. Okay. I swear this worked. Direwolf's video made it work beautifully. The problem is that there was a difference in how this setup looked and worked, and I don't know about that. They're in there, and this thing can see that thing and the inventory above it. All right, I'm going to have to figure this out. I will be back. All right, I got some stuff figured out here. First up was power supply. I had brought a line over this way, but I didn't take it far enough over and actually hook it up. So now the energy line is hooked up. Comes over here, and we've got it coming into here. Another mistake I had made, and it was driving me nuts. You see these crystal growth accelerators, they're currently offline. And the way it's supposed to work is when there is something in there above the item valve, this thing is supposed to tell this redstone emitter to emit a redstone signal strength 15, which is then supposed to activate the energy acceptor, which provides power to the crystal growth accelerators. The problem is I was back and forth of this. I was all over the settings on this and couldn't figure out why it wasn't working. And what I had to do is come over here to this connection and switch to the energy tab and set it to active with signal. And then all of a sudden it starts working. Now when there's a redstone signal, the energy acceptor gets power and the growth accelerators come online. And when the condition is no longer true, they automatically shut down. Great. Awesome. And then as far as the rest of this is concerned, I finally figured something out. The items in the condition. I was really kind of bothered by the fact that when I saw this in Direwolf's video, he had an option to set ignore NBT data. And I don't see that here. And then I finally tried this just out of whatever. I don't know why. I don't know if Direwolf mentioned it in his video or not. I'm going to have to watch it again to make sure. But in order to get the option, go over this, right click, and then you've got the option. You can take an option to specify how much, the damage value. You can use fuzzy detection or dictionary support, mod detection, match all, precise detection, or NBT independent detection. That's the one you want. And you just go back and you go right click over here, do the same thing for this one and the same thing for that one, and so on. And that's what you want. That makes this work. So if the condition is true, the emitter comes on. If the condition, well, the emitter will output a redstone signal of 15, and if the condition is false, it will output a redstone signal of 0. And then over here, input items, we've got all of these things, and I've set all of them to NBT independent. And if any of these items are in that inventory, it outputs them to the gold chest above there. Any of those items, and it's just works. And honestly, in working with that, I've figured out that, okay, there's a little bit with the interface that I have to work out, like right-clicking in places to get more information or options and such. But I'll get there. But the point is that working with that Steve's Factory Manager is very much reminiscent of, well, back around 1990, I was in school for programming. And one of the things that they started us off on from the very beginning was the making of flowcharts. Now, if you don't know what a flowchart is, Google it. It's interesting. It's an intricate tedium detail of programming when you're learning it. The idea is you break your program, what you want the program to do, down into the smallest individual possible steps, and then you make a flowchart, which is basically a kind of a logic diagram of what the program is going to do, step by step by tiny step by tiny step. And that's largely what this sort of things looks like. You've got a trigger, and the trigger is basically every 1 second it's going to trigger this condition. It's going to test for this condition once a second. And then the condition says, if this, and if it's true, do that. If it's false, do this. It's a simplified, simple kind of flowcharting kind of thing. And once I realized that, plus little things like right-clicking to get those other options and whatnot, it started to come together. And now it works. It just works. So up here, in the ME interface, I've got a pattern for creating a Fluix crystal. So if I want to create Fluix crystals, I can now request them, and it will drop the necessary ingredients in there. These things will come on until the Fluix crystals grow, which will then be deposited here in the chest by the factory manager. So what I need now is to get patterns for all of these things in here, and these encoded patterns that make the seeds I need to put into the AE system so that it knows how to manufacture them. So I go over here to interface terminal, and let's see, we want one of these, so I'll just pop it in here. Now we can make any of those kinds of seeds. Great. Now I need to make patterns to make the pure crystals and the regular crystals and so on. Well, the powder I believe already is set up. And I can put those into the ME thing, the ME interface attached to the hopper. So I'm going to get those crystals, those patterns made up, and I'll be right back. Alright, I got it. And let's see. Pattern for making pure nether quartz, and pure Certus, and pure Fluix. Great. Awesome. So now anytime I need any of those guys, I can request them, and they should get put together and dropped into the puddle. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and let's see if I can do that. Alright, let's pure Certus quartz. Let's request 20 of them. Next, auto start, and they're getting dropped into the puddle. The energy acceptors have come on. You see the redstone emitter is emitting a signal. Those guys have come on. They're processing that. And the result is going to go into this chest where I've got one pure Certus quartz, and I'm going to get a bunch more here in a minute or 3. It still doesn't appear to be much of a way to speed this process up, but being able to have it automated is a big step in the right direction. Now what I'll do here is I'll run some energy conduit over to the ME interface. Oh, okay. And then when I'm done testing things, I will hook it up to that chest and have anything in the chest be pumped into the ME interface, which will throw it into the system. Great. That is perfect. Now, the one more thing that I wanted to be able to do and had a hard time figuring out was to make charged Certus quartz, because that's a little bit less common, and I had a really hard time working out how to do that. And then I finally found it. This thing right here, the charger. Now, this charger is what I use to recharge my remote. Okay, that's great. But if I take and put a regular Certus quartz, and that's what this is, regular Certus quartz, pop that in there, watch the NEI thing at the top, and it changed, it became charged. So I right-click again, pop another one in there. And this thing will take regular Certus quartz crystals and charge them. That is great. So the next thing I want to do is build one of these, probably over here somewhere where I can find a free individual data connection, one channel, hook up an ME interface to it, and set it up to, that's the torch. Okay. And set it up so that what it will do is, on request, it will take Certus quartz and make charged Certus quartz. And that will be great. So, some great automation here. Finally got some stuff working right and doing better. And I am pumped about that. That's great. That is awesome. It really is. Oh, well, the torch placement would work if I had torches in there, wouldn't it? Okay, so this thing is working. Let's see, what do we got in here? We got 21 pure Certus quartz now. I had requested 20, so great. That is excellent. Now, I want to know, just for giggles, can I take a pure Certus quartz? Can I put a pure Certus quartz in that? No, I cannot. That's a shame, because I'm going to be able to make pure Certus, but then again, regular non-charged Certus quartz is fairly sort of commonish. Let's see, how much do I got to? Yeah, regular Certus quartz, I got 14,000, so I don't think that's going to be a problem. But great. So, a little bit of long overdue, much needed automation. Starting to figure out some stuff with this Steve's Factory Manager. I have a sneaky suspicion I'm going to be using it a lot more coming forth in the future, because it's just plain awesomely very powerful. And I don't see why I shouldn't. It seems to me it's capable of a lot. I'm going to go ahead and cover all this in. I don't need to have that open anymore. Next up, I'm going to be working on producing more of this red dense cable and ME interfaces, and get the rest of these molecular assemblers hooked up so that I can have my patterns distributed in the way that I actually had kind of envisioned, which will, I think, cut back the bottleneck of auto crafting by having each ME interface, instead of having 4 or 5 or up to 9 things in it, it will have the fewest number possible. You get all of these things online and distribute the items to be auto-crafted in such a way that each one of these things is getting the minimum number of patterns possible. And that spreads the crafting out. And I'm going to want to also make more of these crafting co-processing units for the purpose of making crafting a lot faster. Perhaps these things are kind of overkill. I don't know. There's, I believe these are 16K storage each, or 64K storage, whatever, and then there's a 64. No, that's the crafting code. That's the storage, and this is 3 coprocessors. Okay, yeah, 64K storage and 3 coprocessors, and I've got 6 of those modules. I'm going to build at least 6 more, so there will be lots of coprocessors available for crafting. All right, so getting some direction here, getting some results going on, absolutely loving this. Things are freaking working, and that is awesome. It's great. I love it. All right, thanks for watching. Take it easy. I'm out of here.